Hello, we are back. Hello everyone, how are you all doing? We are now ready for round 4 of the Weiss and Chill Xmas or Christmas Bonanza. If you are new here, please consider hitting that follow button. We're 8 away from 300. It'd be great to get there by the end of this. So please support the channel if you haven't already. And yeah, we've got an exciting stream up for you this time. We've got a HoloLive versus Sword Art Online. So it'll be a very interesting match to see how it goes. It'll be Chase all the way from Malaysia versus Orpheus, who is a new member to the community from Spain. So yeah, very interesting matchup. Very good to see what happens here. My bets are on HoloLive just because I'm a HoloLive simp. And that is my take for this before I drop the mic and bugger off out here for a round. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and make sure you stick around, and I will leave you to the very capable hands of Callum and Chris to go through the deck lists. Coming your way.
Sounds like a mistake.
Coming your way now.
Which one first? The Chase with the whole Kirito EGO build. It's a dank, spicy mess here, because it's just like you've got two different level 3 combos which essentially operate off the same climax. You've got a variety of cards from both the Alicization sets, the both anniversary sets, just primarily consisting of Kirito and Yu-Gi-Oh! Alicization pieces. You have a level 1 combo that essentially sometimes I forget what this combo is because I'm so used to the English for the combo. It's essentially on attack with experience 2. So you place up to top 3 from your deck into your waiting room, then choose up to 1 anniversary character with level X or lower. So you get a good milling level 1 combo, but you also have another level 1 combo which allows you to salvage as well. So you get so many different combos essentially, which you don't really know what you're going to be going with. So you have literally just level 0 popping off with your combos as well. And you have the Panther Gate Assist. Well, no, we don't have the Gate Assist. Oh, sorry, it's like I'm just like a confuser with the other things. And there's just so many different texts and pieces here, so I'm normally lost to what it is. So I'm just really excited for what it is. It's just like you've got so many different utilities. So just how does the overall consistency for the deck generally work? So we're getting to find out now. I'll pass it over for the HoloLive.
It's a pretty standard HoloLive list, to be honest, from what we've seen throughout the last wee while. Obviously, we've got the extra booster additions, such as the Haku, the Hakusbi at level 0, and then the Kira option at level 1 as well, just to give that extra body on the board. Still opting to run the Aqua level, the Aquas. It's just to confuse, but no, the blue Aquas for that consistency, which does generally open up the list to having that level 1 Subaru, but obviously in this case we're not opting for that level 1 Subaru as much. The additional cards that we've got in here that are slightly more interesting are obviously the inclusion of the level 0 Gion, which just counts as a bump deck bomb, as well as the Knoll in the top end to try and make sure that we're finishing people off when we can. That'll be those 2 cards plus the combination of the actual running of the rest counter are the 2 sort of big ones that we'll be looking out for, I think, from Orpheus having in hand, as well as having options to do things like the anti-change counter, but I don't believe that will be as relevant in this matchup as it would be in certain other ones.
There's a variety of techs in this deck as well, considering treating the Cheon Bomb as a tech more than actual utility removal card. And then you got different variety level 1s as well. I don't think the whole Laplace over the Aqua would be 100% the play if you want to play cards like the Botan, because you do need blue. So it's just like having not enough Cheons, you have to do benefit from the Aqua to be able to play into the cards like the Botan, which really does help the Marine top end.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the reasons that they're still running these the blue Aquas is just because of that Noel. It's the top end. It's not the easiest of things to do, but it's also not really an issue to try and get that blue generally in HoloLive. It has so much manipulation over its own clock. as well as the ability now to refresh whenever it wants, really, with the Nene alarm.
Well, realistically, because the Sword Art has a different variety of its level 1 combo packages and turns, you don't really know what you're going to be getting from this game or what you need to keep an eye out on, because you do have so many different things that essentially work the same platform. But you just look at it and think, right, what am I looking to do here? What am I preventing? What am I trying? What do I need to keep in consideration of? Because it's just so many different things. Because you're not really going to understand until you've actually genuinely gone up against it properly. So that's what I'm really thinking about. It's just like, but how does Sword Art would manage the consistency to deal with that? So even though having the 2-1 combo, so you only have the one stock stall package, but you get like 7 gate triggers for it as well. So you do have a level 2 game plan to think about here, which just generates you just a load of stock to benefit from going into your level 3 combos. So
Yeah. I think we've just seen a bit of that consistency that you were worried about with Casey's deck initially, with the fact that at the beginning of the game he's had to discard 4 in order to actually have what assumed the 2 playables this turn.
So I guess from looking at it from that perspective, it's like the original game plan for Sword Art was to basically just try and hard draw as much resource pieces as you can.
Yeah, he's definitely had to do some digging on the first turn there to get him. Meanwhile, Orpheus here triggered the choice and luckily had a Marine. Not luckily, probably planned that, to be honest, but the ability to have the Marine to get that free stock and then just pay out the choice there again with the Aqua.
Also, we do have to also consider that it's like that spicy one-off Alice and Yu-Gi-Oh, which is like pay for, then discard a character at the end of attack. You send the top 17 cards of your deck to the waiting room and then deal X damage. X is being the number of climaxes. So being able to just literally just flip your 17 cards of your deck like that, just like you don't really know what you're going to be going for here.
Yeah, there's loads of options there.
Did something just happen that I'm not aware about?
I think they're trying to work out something here. The Aqua got reversed, the Aqua leveled.
Sorry, what?
They're currently, looks like they're trying to reverse something here. They've...
Wait,
I think what's happened here is the Orpheus thought that they were attacking into the Aqua.
So he put the Aqua into the waiting room. But the fact of the matter is, he's already seen 2 cards, essentially, the Marine and the Door. So realistically, those should be shuffled back in. Because
choice should also still be in stock.
Yes, the choice trigger would be in stock if it's not still there. I can't honestly tell because...
Oh, that should be in... Yeah, but he triggered choice, so that should be in stock.
Yeah. So we had a bit of a miscommunication because it's just like assuming that the Aqua was attacked when it didn't get attacked, period. So I just have to try a bit of backtrack, but that would be penalized, essentially warning-wise, because it's just like a whole lot of things just happen realistically, and you just throw a few cards out of your deck, which you shouldn't be. So a bit of an unfortunate circumstance, but
he does get the triple corner here, which is going to be really good to rebuild that hand there.
Yeah, but the problem is now, because he just already saw the 2 climaxes from his brainstorm and the 1 climax into his stock as well. So plus the choice he's got out already. So even if he takes the 3 cards out of his deck, it's like, it's not really amazing factors right now. There's another one as well. It's like, how is he going to keep up with the damage if he's just going to get pushed to 2 in this follow-up turn? Because he's already got a few bits out already.
Yeah, I think at this point you just got to hope follow the rest of the classes sort of follow the track record of being near the top of the deck. And if they are, then hopefully he has the nene to force that refresh going into the long term.
That's a good cancel on 3, to be honest, because it's just like, just keep your 2s from coming through, but you just allow to get the 3 cancelled. There's less damage output being pressed against you. Like, you could essentially cancel this as well, but you doesn't have any risk right now in terms of going to level 1, because he's going to be able to generate a huge return outlet the following turn. You got a level 1 combo essentially going to be milling 3 anyway, so because if you let mill 3 cards and then all 3 characters, you just salvage a level 3. It's a bit different from your usual like cigarette style combos where it's mill 2 then you salvage the level total, because you mill 3 and then you salvage a level depending on how many characters are milled.
Some of us oldies would call that an Operation Tornado. But no, it's definitely one of those sort of things. I think that the fact that it's got the level 2 requirement for experience on it makes it a fairly balanced effect on that front.
Operation Tornado, let's go. Angel Beats. I'm so sad there are no Angel Beats today. I wanted to see that new event in action.
Yeah, I think a lot of our players found it really difficult to get some of those cards, considering it only came out yesterday, which might be one of the reasons for it not existing.
Would you play that if you had access to it today?
If I was playing today and I had access to it, I'd probably have played some sort of little busters with the new stuff that came out.
I'd be tempted to play Charlotte just to like. That's one of the new combos from the 10th Annie set.
Yeah.
The Annie. Because the anniversary anime rather than 10th anniversary light novel.
And that'll be something that hopefully we'll be seeing soon in the English meta. We might even see some of this a deck similar to this minus also the regular 10th anniversary stuff, because we're only getting 10th
English one is going to be very interesting because the fact that we don't actually have access to the light novel anniversary, but we're going to be getting the animation anniversary. So I don't think we'll actually get the light novel version in at all unless something drastically changes, because realistically, JP to English for like light novel stuff tends to be not the same as animation-wise. Probably it's due to specific licensing that's basically more trouble to get over. I think it's thinking about it. It's just like, wasn't it the only one basically? It's like outside animation for anime would be like Dragon Maid, because it was just more manga based.
Yeah, there is the option here. There's Chase just using his Yu-Gi-Oh to get his level 1 combo. It's a really consistent card. A2 discard 1, rest itself. Discard a Floodlight, sorry. Rest itself, and then it salvages a character, and then you get to salvage a character with the same name. So you're salvaging 2 copies of the same card. Yeah,
you essentially use that to basically deal with your 2-1 combo, essentially, because it's just like generate. It's like a pay 1 to play it, then you just get 2 stop back from it, so you're instantly netting yourself.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's.
But the problem is,
as a player, if you see that many copies of your level 1 combo out that early, you're going to struggle to maybe try field every single time.
And the problem is, though, he's only running 2 of that, and we just saw 1 copy basically just get milled down. So whether or not he took it back, I couldn't quite catch it. Just going back and forth with all the translation pages to make sure I'm looking at what I'm reading. But 2 combos only, not the same the wavelength of basically the triple coronate, but he has more deck speed than the. I'm not sure if he's basically seen a bit more lack of characters mill, because it's like he probably wanted to salvage something level 3 maybe.
Yeah, there's that option. I think he's probably just trying to keep some sort of hand size. There he salvaged that. Obviously had the option to salvage a level 2 or lower. And he chose to salvage the level 0.
That's a good cancel there, just exactly when he needs it. Because if he's like all those climaxes he's already been through, just having a big huge damage output going through, it basically would have changed a lot in this game for him, for obvious. But staying on 1-4, not too bad.
Yeah. And now he's got both blue and red, so if he wanted to, he doesn't need to clock to make sure that he's got everything that he can play as a playable. That's one of the main things that generally a Hololive player has is that multiple color level 1 combo, multiple color level 1 game. And so controlling the colors within the clock is one of the things that a Hololive player generally has to keep on track of.
You probably still want a clock here, so just like you just don't losing hand just by calling 2.
Yeah, it does give him that flexibility though that he can now just clock whatever. He's not needing to clock for color at all. Playing the Mel here to then make sure that he's getting the effect off of the use of the act. So hopefully generate a bit of extra stock for himself.
He's not really going to be doing combo this turn, I believe, because of all. I'm not sure if there was something he wanted to try and get out by playing over it.
It might just be he's got another playable. Yeah, there we go. See the Carney. So I would assume he's probably got the choice if he's playing double Carney again. Unless he's just going for the power, because obviously the Carney's gain the power on place. So they're probably... They should be big enough at least to deal with one of them.
No, he had another choice in hand. I thought he'd be at least all out by now, but having a triple coronate into a double coronate with a Nal on top has basically been really beneficial.
Yeah. And he gets the stock.
Was that a level 1?
Yeah, it's a level 1 Kira.
What's that one again? So it basically, when another Hololive character attacks, it basically gets 1/5 and hand encore. It's a 1/1 as well, so that's quite interesting of a tech.
Yeah, I think one of the main reasons that they do it is, one, it's a way of paying out stock, which doesn't rely on you using your brainstorm, which means that you do keep that brainstormer open for that pump.
I think that what that kind of tech is basically dealt with for the impact of the Quince 8 standby matchup, especially when English players tend to need to deal with that matchup quite well. It's another alternate option because it can just beat over the 1/1s as well as the 2/2s.
Yeah. That's the thing nowadays. Obviously, we're seeing all these 1/1s coming out because of the fact that it deals with the Quince and there is another set that was around for a while. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head that played a 1/1 that couldn't get it reversed by level 0s.
You mean Mishoku?
That's what it was.
But English didn't play the 1/1 Ghislaine before the ban list hit. Because after the ban list hit, people start running a couple. But no, it wasn't done before. It was an option. It was an option, but it's just like you didn't really go out because just like the 2/2 Ghislaine essentially made your board essentially big enough that it didn't matter.
Yeah. He searches his 2. It's actually perfect planning here for Morphus. So he's only searching 2. Even if he had the third Carney, I doubt he would have played that. Search the 2, and that means that he's going to
both techs as well.
Yeah. So yeah, they're both techs. One's the climax swapper that gains a soul when it's in the middle of the slot. I think they're just explaining the effects here. And then it is at the beginning of the main phase. If it's on the top of the clock, you can pay 1, ditch 1 to refresh yourself.
Just quite funny, just like seeing all these texts are getting now to his hand essentially.
It's one of the great things about running the Corny Climax is the fact that you can just consistently manage to run anyone else.
The downside of the Corny Climax is basically just like if you don't have the deck speed, it just kind of feels awkward.
Yeah, that's why they run so many of the brainstormers. I mean, normally they're running 4 copies.
You need the cancel to back it up.
Yeah. A lot of them run. It's a minimum normally of 4 copies of the Matsuri, and which is on the field just now. And a lot of them are also running maybe 1 or 2 copies of the Shion top 5 search brainstormer, just to get through the deck, because that is one of the things, as you say, that the deck struggles with. The other one it does quite often run is the Choco Sensei, which is coming to play Mill top 3, which helps with that deck speed as well.
So considering the game state right now, Chase is dealing with it's already been pushed to level 2 at this point because it's just I believe, unless I can't see quite clearly with his hand there, but I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure he's level 2 because it's the Asuna now on top of the level. which is ideal because it was pushed after the level up as well for the refresh, which just means that the Orphis is put Chase into a good enough deck state for him to keep pushing damage if he needs to.
If you're gonna do the on reverse of that for the Kirito, because essentially it's just a simple on reverse read, so you can link up to the top 3 for a character. Or has he already done that, and basically you discard after he refreshes, essentially?
He shouldn't have already done it, because it should only get reversed now. But
Well, no,
yeah.
because it's just like... I think he did it before refresh, it's just like... Because it's like, as soon as he hit the... when he picked his
that's
card...
forced the refresh.
Yeah, force the refresh, then he'll discard after. So it's one card less going back in because he's not discarded for it.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's a fine play.
Where would you stand for the Hololive player at this point, knowing that Chase has not really been getting his pieces going just yet, so you start to feel a little safe, wouldn't you? Because but at the same time, anything can really happen because even with players who are like level or 2 ahead, can still be getting clinched back. But if the RNG can also just cook them out essentially as well, so you can never you can never feel safe.
No, I don't think you take it as being safe, especially because you're only 4 or 5 damage behind going into the player's turn. It's not the biggest lead that you could have. The fact that you have the field does give you a bit of clean, but the Corny again, she's not big on defense. The only lane that can potentially be saved here is probably the Mel lane, just because the fact that she pumps herself when you use an act. So any backups will give her a wee extra boost of power as well, probably taking up to about 7,000 each.
In regards to how Chase might feel about it right now, he's thinking basically he needs to start getting his stuff together for when he hits level 3. Because right now, without the 2-1 to generate the stock advantage, which he generally wants, he's not really going to be seeing much in terms of his next couple of turns. Which, if everything goes Orpheus his way here, he can literally just keep cancelling and pressing resource advantage over Chase.
Yeah, I think Chase just played the 1-1 event there to search out a copy of the level 1 combo. So I'm expecting them probably to go for the level 1 combo again here.
Yeah,
which they can definitely do especially with the UGO will allow them to get 2 more copies if they really wanted to try field.
We see that the UGO as well on board, which is basically when this card is front attack, it's paid to ditch 1. It basically negs 2 souls to the character opposite it. And you can also discard 1 card to basically bounce back something. And then when it gets reversed, you can send it to memory. Wait, no, so basically, no, all those effects are basically given to a Kirito, essentially, while this card's in memory. For the... I don't know, sorry. So, recollection, if this card's in your memory, all of your Kirito gains the following effect. Pay 2, discard 1. When this card is front attack, neg 2 souls sure. His own attack effect is basically send 1 card from hand on attack, bounce another, and when reversed in battle, if you have 2 or less memory, send them to memory. Sometimes you read cards and just like, there's so much text on it, you just like, you miss the part where it just says, oh, you get this effect.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that this deck wants is that memory. Obviously, he's now got the allyization event into the memory, which I think the level 3 Kirito requires. And then this just gives extra power to obviously to the level 1 combo to actually to have some more staying power or a bit of control over the match.
Like the Asuna being there as well as like also being at early play, but it's also top X as well.
Yeah,
it's an 11k body with 12k with climax here, and yeah, essentially that.
Yeah, it's interesting that he's obviously made the decision here that he would much rather get rid of the Corny than get rid of the Mel and confirm the reverse as much.
Well, Essentially, with the coroners, essentially, it's like if you leave them alive, basically they can still come back for another combo turn if he basically draws another choice, and you just keep rinse and repeating, essentially.
Yeah.
The combo, leaving the combo alive in any means is just basically hard to deal with, but he needs to get that reverse off sooner or later for the level 0, just to get it to memory, just for the for your level 3s to get extra effect.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those things where the coronary generally isn't
Yeah, no
strong or
cancel off the top.
So the coronary being stuck around on the field isn't always the worst thing, because you know that it's not generally going to get a reverse on the following turn unless a third one's played or something else is big.
How do you normally feel about the new, the latest refresh ruling? That's like just basically you take the refresh damage after refresh, so in the middle of things like brainstorms or damage. Because
If someone that is taught many people how to play Vice over the years, it's such a godsend. It is such a nice addition to actually be able to explain to people, look, you don't need to worry about remembering when you've got to do it later on. Just dealing with it there and then is so much easier.
It's so much easier to teach people, but at the same time, it's just like when you just say, okay, I just refreshed the climax on top of my deck and just take 2, or my opponent basically refresh clean and then just cancels off the top. When the old refresh ruling is basically the other way round. Sometimes you start to wonder. It's just like, why did this refresh ruling change?
The worst part is I don't think it's actually changed how often you refresh a climax. I think it's just you notice it more nowadays because the fact that obviously you're trying to be you're trying to be a bit more conscious of actually doing it correctly. And
exactly. It's just like you're subconsciously thinking. It's just like, right, if it was the other way around like it used to be, it's just like I wouldn't be dealing with the situation here.
Yeah.
Because then Orpheus would have had more damage essentially than he would have taken with climax being put in the refresh. But Chase has to get pile up the damage back to basically be on equal terms now. So the question is, how will he handle the follow-up turn? Because Orpheus can just literally even if he clocks, he can just heal down with the Sweet State early play, which is the 4 or more body.
Yeah, the other thing is, and he's just played it there. He actually has access to to the IMA early play, which is the level downer.
Which is pretty cool because it's just like he's gonna do one at a time though, so he's gonna have to choose which card he wants to level down first. So he can basically just level down that Asuna to level 2, and then he could just basically just make that level 2 level down again.
Yep, and we didn't comment on it last turn, but Chase actually deciding to side against the Mel with the UGO.
I think it's
his opponent to decide.
I think he just wants to reduce the amount of damage that's getting pushed to him. Essentially, he doesn't want to leave direct open for free. Essentially,
yeah, it does mean that he doesn't have access for the Kirito to do sort of its next solar that assuming that the Orpheus does a certain attack order here.
I just gotta think now. It's just like, where's Chase thinking about his next turn? Because that's not a bad target to bring it out, actually.
It's definitely not a bad target. I think that's one of the things with the level down nowadays is, yes, you're getting rid of a big body, and that's obviously the main thing of it, but you're also then quite often ending up giving your opponent some sort of utility that they can use, things like breezes and everything like that. Actually deciding for the second level down to level down obviously the Kirito because it's the only target for one.
Wait,
so,
how many times did he level down then? Because it's just like
he went down twice. So he went from the Asuna into the Kirito straight away, not even leveling down.
I thought he basically leveled down the Asuna into the Yu-Gi-Oh anti-chains and chose it again. Okay, it makes sense.
And I think that's one thing that a lot of players don't decide to do, which is that the level down. It says you must choose a level X or lower, where X is equal to the level of the card selected -1. So in this case, Chase did have that option to go straight to level 0. In which your opponent cannot then choose the level 0 as the second target, so you're then making them force to get into possibly 3 utility cards.
Well, the way I've said basically is like just having a level 2, then you basically, if you want to get rid of that, just level it down again. So it would have kept his level 1 combo alive essentially, or even then, because like you just have the level 1 down, move level down into level 0 as well.
Yeah, but he's chosen the option here to obviously go into the Rize, and then the second one gives him the option to choose the on reverse search for Floodlight when it becomes reversed.
Ooh, you went for the on reverse Rize first for the attack pattern.
I'm not averse to that selection. Yeah, it gives your opponent the chance to look at the top 3 cards of your deck, but it does mean that that reverse search is not getting those targets as an option.
Realistically, it's a bit of a weird one because getting the chance to actually dig down at L1, maybe 2 cards, and it's just like no climax. It's just like it just makes the range for the next cancel much more easier to find.
Yeah.
So I'm not normally used to basically swinging into the Rize first. The only time I would try to bait it is like if my opponent has very few cards in there and they're like climaxes, because it's basically more risky doing that.
Yeah, it does give him access. Obviously, I don't think we commented on it, but I think that is it the last place Yu-Gi-Oh is part of a combo or something for the later game. Maybe is it the level 2 that uses it? But yeah, put this then also gives him the level down, give him access to that as an option to send that to memory.
Yeah. So basically after the battle in the middle, so it's like, oh, I think I see why basically Chase decides to change his mind. So he has the access to the Yu-Gi-Oh that get on reverse to get him to memory, but you also have the Kirito to basically mill through your deck a bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just entirely using the utility that he has available to him to give him a better state and hand going into the next turn. Because at the end of the day, he was going to lose all 3 of these lanes either way.
Getting that extra stock from the mill, triggering to the door.
That's twice we've seen that extra stock from the mill, and that's quite big. You normally do it, and you maybe only see it once throughout the game, but seeing it twice, that stock definitely adds up in this deck.
Oh, for me, it's just like I never see it pop up unless I basically know it's top checked at level 1. It's just like I never see it on attack, whether it's random. sometimes you get those games, it's just like, but sometimes you just have everything going for you. I guess it also does make it matter if you're...
I think we've actually just lost Leon. Oh, we're back. Here we go. We're back.
You could have just randomly throws Liam's space in front of us, just like...
So going into this turn, Chase is now 2-6. After, I don't know if he clocked there or not, but he's quite happy. So
2
on the brainstorm. I think it's just a search brainstorm, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. It is a search brainstorm.
It's quite surprising that it's taken him this long to get a brainstorm. I don't think he'll have been sitting on that in his hand for that long.
The problem is the brainstorm, it's Floodlight specific, so he can't search anything that's not Floodlight.
Very true. I think that's one of the nice things that the anniversary set added was a lot of the older characters sort of saw their Floodlight trait coming through.
You'd essentially be quite glad by the fact that it's just like, even with the Floodlight trait, you can make it better for the Floodlight day. But it's just like when text is just like specifically anniversary, it kind of just fades it away from the old stuff, which isn't bad per se, but it's just like you kind of would like to see a bit more of the latest techs and tools of the trade. This is one of the other combos, essentially, which is like on attack with combo, you salvage one.
It's pretty good.
Huh?
That's a pretty good combo, to be honest. It's not the worst.
Yeah, because it's just like in this deck state right now, he could literally just have a free on attack salvage. No mill needed or anything.
And the fact it's on attack is even better. Does require level 6, total level 6 or higher, which he's obviously met because he's now got he had the Asuna and the Kirito as his first level up. So it gains 1.5k and the abilities, which are the on attack, twin drive, and when it reverses the opponent, you can send that card to memory.
So realistically thinking about it now, it's just like he needs to figure out, can I push him damage-wise to a 2-5? Because 2-5 will be a safe range roughly, but at the same time considering the deck of Orpheus,
Yeah.
it's like he doesn't need to worry about clock drawing into the trying to go into Marine just to try and kill Chase. Because we know that Chase is going to 3-0 after this first attack. So the question is, does Orpheus want to take the opportunity to go into a... Did he play the climax at all this turn, or?
Looks like he's not hit a climax at all.
No, because he's already triggered. So you got the Kirito Brainstorm as the card he triggered.
Yep.
But so I didn't see whether or not there's a climax on play because it's all covered up.
Doesn't look like there is any climax in play for Chase here.
No climaxes. Kind of sad, really, because you have that combo asset, but it's just like without the climax, it's just like, oh well. It would have been so beneficial to have that climax available to him in the state, because just like...
I don't think he's going to overly complain about having that extra climax, though, however, in his deck.
I mean, you never know, really.
I don't think... I didn't notice, at least. Yeah, he is running one climax swapper, so at least he would have access to it, even if it was the climax that he needed in this card. But the way that Chase's game's going, I don't think he's seeing every piece that he wants to see. So I think he's probably just playing on the safer side of just making sure.
We could see another climax basically pop out here. But Chase is like he's not seeing the attack patterns he wants damage wise. But he's basically just gonna discard just to try and see about hand fixing a little bit, even if it's like not that many, but it's just a little bit something to do. Goes to 2-3 here, which isn't too bad. You could try and get him to 2-5 at this point and just see about pressing on the next turn. So it's only for 1, so it's like 2-4. So we'll still cancel for 1. It's not really going to be good for Chase because just like Orpheus can still basically just like deal with just healing down a little bit more with another Tweet State early play. Because he runs 3 in the deck, so... And because he did hit the draw trigger on the previous turn. Oh, did he pay 3 to save the IMA?
Yeah, he decided to pay 3 to save the IMA, which is interesting because I wonder if he's going to do something here to clear up the backspace, because normally you don't sit with the IMA as a main attacker.
Yeah, it's just like seeing the IMA stay on the front row just an attacker is a bit weird. Especially it's like paying 3 to just keep her alive. It's just like, what's the benefit of doing that?
The only thing I can think of is he's not really got that many playbills. He's maybe got 3 copies of his Marine in hand and just needing the climax for it. So he's just quite willing to keep his hand in a state where it's as it is just now, and then maybe do a Matsuri brainstorm.
You do say that, but he did have literally going straight into level 1, triple Coroni, and then the following turn, double Coroni and a Mel, and then basically it's a Suisei and the IMA as well on the following. So I'd be very surprised if his hand was not that great for him to do that. Plus he had the refresh as well, so it's like, was there really a need?
There we go. Clocking the Nene, paying 1, discarding the climax, the choice climax there to refresh his deck. So that's a really good deck state to go into.
I'd be very questionable about the paying 3 part, because I would have just let the IMA go, because it's just like, if you can refresh and see the IMA again anyway, it's just like, it makes no difference really, does it? But you can just basically play the Suisei anyway, because realistically, I feel like he should be having 1 assist because he's like, because that Nene he would have had from the second Coroni combo turn, which he kept in hand.
His hand doesn't look that big, which might also be the reason. I think he's only got maybe 4 or 5 cards in there, which is normally is a really good size. But obviously the Suisei is a discard to yield to stock, which just diminishes his hand even more, and he wants that hand going into the level 3 turn with the Marines that exist.
Yeah, Marine getting that extra stock. It's 3 in a row. He's hit that.
Third mail. Wow. That's
That's a good cancel slot. That's another level 1. That was 3 level 1 higher in a row.
Yep. Chase double cancelling here, though. That is good for Chase.
Oof. Seen that door, though.
And that's them just hitting time there. So we're now into turns for them. It's been quite a slow-paced game, actually.
Yeah.
They've both been cancelling a lot. It's not that they've not been doing a lot of actions. It's just they've really been...
It's more... Orpheus has had the combos and that going for him, but he hasn't really pressed in the last 2 turns in an efficient way. And I feel like paying the free stock for to keep the IMA doesn't really help. To be honest, I would have put that.
Things with Whole Life though, especially with the Marine top end, you don't need that stock really going into.
I would have pushed swap the IMA with one of the 3s from the back row just to swing for 2 rather than 3.
It's always the option. I think I don't know if Orpheus really knows what Sau's end game looks like. So he might be keeping the mats race just to push the power on maybe the Marines when they come into play, to try and make sure that he's clearing the board as much as he can.
Well, we're seeing one of the Kiritos. It's because we know Chase is his turn 1. So Orpheus only has 1 turn left after to push game, but Chase has 2 full turns essentially to do it, which could be very huge for Chase, to be honest.
Yeah, and there's the second Kirito.
So the Kirito again, the combo is on attack with the climax. If you have another anniversary character and you have alicization in your memory, send the top card of your deck to the waiting room and then burn to your burn to the cost +1.
And it's quite an unusual effect, that one, because that's the first outcome we've ever had where it's burn equal to cost instead of something like level +1 or just level.
Yeah.
In this case, so at least it does always guarantee 1 damage minimum.
Wait, question. Yeah. He played the 1/1 1 point, didn't he? The alicization event, right?
He has played the alicization event, yeah.
Is it not in memory?
Oh, it's in memory, yeah. It's the bottom card of memory.
Because I could not see it.
Oh, he's got the 3 cards of memory. He's got the alicization, the last piece, Yu-Gi-Oh, and
I know the Yu-Gi-Oh and the Kirito are in there. Yeah. Just like there it is, yeah. Just to confirm that the 1/1 is indeed a memory. So because the combo doesn't cost stock, it means it does have a better resource. Plus, not to mention, he does have the Yu-Gi-Oh as well. That is literally just helped out. Is Kirito, which was find it out, making sure the Divine Mighty Power Kirito. That is such a tuney name, Divine Mighty Power Kirito.
That's burning for 2. In case it's just explaining what the Kirito was actually doing here to his opponent.
Yeah, so burn to the cost +1.
Yeah,
so burn 2. Yep, the 2's on. Put them to 2/6. And that is for 4. 4, was it?
Yeah, 4. Cancel for
3
third.
cancel.
That's a nice point to cancel there for Orpheus.
See, the problem is now, even if Orpheus has went for the triple marine, he doesn't heal, so any damage he takes is going to be really problematic for him.
Yeah, I think going into the next turn, since he hits 3, I've got to assume he's got triple marine in hand already. He's in it, and most he's just digging for the climax if he does any of them. But
you need red. Yeah, he put the drop search in.
Yeah.
So this is for 4 again. Yeah, cancel 2 again, and then. Oh, the good thing about that Kirito is because. Wait, if he's got that Kirito there, I'm surprised he didn't put it in front of them against a Mel. It's just a side. Because...
There.
Yeah, because if you put a Mel, because the other effect of that Kirito, it's like when your opponent plays a climax, it goes to stock.
Yeah.
So... Yeah.
I think it's one of those. It would have generated the extra stock in the next turn following with the Marines.
Yeah. So realistically, if you had the Kirito take out the Sweet Say, because the Sweet Say is not that big.
Yeah.
So you could have easily just taken both out. So if you just sided as well with the level 0, then you can just get the stock back.
Yeah, I think Chase was
Marine.
probably just fed up with that Mel giving so much plussing that 3 turns, 3 plussing off of it.
Yeah.
It just seems a bit strong.
Not to mention, both the either one of these Kirito can literally basically neg 2 soul. So now see how hard is he gonna pop off here, because at the end of his turn, if Chase survives this turn, it's gonna be very big for him for the follow-up turn because he needs to win. But he's not gonna have much time to do it.
Yeah.
Because it's like 4.5 minutes to go, and Orpheus is going to take as much time as he possibly can without trying to take advantage of it. He's going for the. Does he have the combo? Is the question.
I think he's just trying to get this climax.
That's what I'm saying. Is that, does he have the climax? Because we know 1 went into stock, and we know that 2 got cancelled.
Oh, he should have it now.
Wait. I thought it was top 3 and a card, or was it what?
Yeah, look up to top 3, add any card there. So you must have the climax already in hand, in order, if he's not grabbing it there.
But why is he
maybe
showing? Because you don't show what you had.
Yeah, it's one of the habits of older players. Things like a cat skin that where it says look at, we quite often will reveal them just because both players are going to see them when they go to the waiting room either way.
Wait, is he going for the stock swap?
It looks... Yes, he is. Okay.
That's an interesting play, because now he's only got 1 Marine and 1...
I think he only had access to the 1 Marine by looks. I think he was digging for the second one, because that was 2 he just paid out from stock. 1 very early on in the game he triggered, and then the second one with the Mel that he triggered the other turn. So he only actually had access to 1 other Marine. And he's just whiffed on everything that he's tried to get it.
Are we going to have another one of those cursed games where basically it's just like you just couldn't pop off the finisher because you just couldn't see it?
Yeah, it's entirely possible. And it's one of these things with the game just now where it's a lot of our finishers are very much, you need a lot of pieces sometimes to get them running, and you're looking for that 2 or 3 copies of them each time. And if you don't get them, then sometimes your finishing power is just not there.
It's going to be interesting to see how the next part is going to be. He's going to brainstorm as well. So he knows that the first attack is not going to be the Marine Burn 2, which could be quite beneficial for him, to be honest.
Here we go. That was the 3rd Marine I think he just paid out there. So he didn't have actually access to any of them.
Technically, the tap counter would be beneficial here, but it depends on how big his hand is right now. Like, if he's got 5-6 cards anyway, he needs to basically play Climax and ditch 1 character. Yep. So that's 2 cards. Yeah, there's the Climax. But he's going to go for the 4 and hit the choice. So he does.
That's ideal.
He does get the extra character to hand for the tap counter.
Yep.
And he can pay out that choice for the combo. So the thing is, though, he can also put the
cancels on the 4th.
Oh, that is huge.
Chase will have an idea of how many of those climaxes, ideally are in the stock, and only one of them is really unknown to him.
Because the cost to the next 2 soul is on a front attack. Oh,
he's got the damage now from the Marine at least.
Wait, Wait, what? Has he done the attack on the Marine?
Yeah, he's doing just now. So for 3.
He should have a chance timing to basically be able to use the next 2 soul. He never got that chance timing. Because it's just basically swinging for 4.
Yeah, but that would have happened at the same time.
He's gotta have to do the next 2 soul here. Just put them for 2-2. Or he's gonna basically pay 3 to keep it alive. Either way, if he funds here and Chase basically next 2 soul, he can essentially
next 2 soul here just to make his next turn even easier. So you might not even get a next turn at this rate.
Oh shit! Yeah, just like 1 damage. Chase just needs to basically just draw and just play cards, and just fan base. Just go. 3, 2, 1. Oh,
Unfortunately, that will mean that Chase, unfortunately, is not going to manage to get anything done. It's unfortunate. You never want
bail
to see
by the
that.
time. You
Yeah,
bailed out by the time.
you never want to see that. You never want to see a game
No.
really finish by time. But it's all players are aware of the timing, unfortunately, and it's just one of those things.
It's 35 plus 10, so it's just like, it's one of those things. It's like, realistically, you can't really argue either way, because if you take 45 minutes in a game, you don't finish it, it's kind of on both sides' fault.
Yeah, I don't think either player were really playing slowly either on that counter. I think it was just a case that they just kept cancelling so much that the early game was a very elongated early game, which sort of just led to that late game. The general extra time that you make up in the early game to use in the late game when it's a bit more thought intensive and requiring that extra bit of consideration. They didn't have that, and they still tried to use that as if it was there, which sort of whittled the time down, unfortunately, for both players.
Oof. That was really, because it's like, if Chase had an extra minute, he could literally, he doesn't even need to clock draw 2 here. He just basically just needs to go push, swing to his wing, because he just needed 1 to equal damage, 2 to win.
Yeah, that's the thing. Ideally, obviously, Chase didn't want to have the 2 damage, just 2 damage stick. He wanted 3, because at that point he wins the game. It's not double loss.
So he was just he cancelled that last turn, essentially relatively effective, and he basically saved the next 2 Thor for the last wing, which he basically for 1, so he basically go to 2-3-2. So
yeah, it's one of those. It's really unfortunate in the way that a tournament generally runs. The fact that obviously we've got time constraints, everything like that, and it's not just for the players; it's also on the staff to make sure that we're keeping them going as much as we can. And it's just, unfortunately, they've ran out of time on that one. It's not how I don't think anyone wants to see a game finish, but unfortunately it happens.
Like speaking of experience, it's just like, especially in a BCS finals as well, I've had that experience. I've been on the bad side of it. Even though it did reward me, it did not feel like it was one of those kind of games where basically it felt a bit, but at the same time, the rules are there, and basically the rules are there to basically stop people from being taking the mick out of timing.
Yeah, I've seen it many times over the years that I don't think either party comes away from a timing, a time up being called. Actually, they walk away from that happy with themselves.
I think both. I think it was a very effective game. It's just a bit sad, a bit of a shame, but Chase basically just wasn't seeing the 2-1 package come through. But he basically, it does show that the 3-2 combo being cheap and free, just literally milk and burn the cost. It's like, it's so easy. Yeah. It's like you're not whipping it as well. It's just like oh, I mill a level 1-1, I burn 2. It's easy. I mill a 3-2. It's I think the best thing about that is you're never going to go overboard and burn 4, essentially, because you're not playing 3 cost stuff unless you play the money counter.
Yeah, I think Jace played that extremely well, playing into the level down to make sure that he was then getting the pieces that he needed to have in memory for everything else to be online. It was a great recovery for the fact that he didn't seem to see them in hand in order to actually do them actually in that sense. And then we also had Orpheus there, just plussing. I've never seen someone so plussing off that Mel. It was exceptional to see, and the control that he had to actually play that IMA and also play the pay 3 encore. We obviously never saw that fully play out, but by the looks of it, that actually was part of the plan, was to try and make sure that he never had as many of those Marines in stock that he eventually, unfortunately, did have, and didn't have access to.
I'm still confused basically with the pay 3 to encore for the IMA, because it's just like, realistically, he could have just swapped them for the Mat 3 Brainstorm, because he doesn't need both of them. He was just tapping them just for power and do nothing, essentially, because it wasn't doing anything. So having the IMA in the back row, you most likely want to keep that more than you want to keep the Mat 3 there. So I was a bit confused on that regard, but it's just at the same time, he was swinging. It would be swinging directs for 2s rather than 3s as well. You weren't in a game state where you were going to be punished for just dealing 2s, because at the end of the day, he was just like, he you still need to have the combo for Marines. And I'm just basically wondering, when did he gonna start trying to dig for those Marine combos? Because the fact that he only had one on the door as well, just like, I was very curious. It's like where all the Marines essentially disappeared to, because you'd be expect to at least have two before you hit into level 3. Not just one.
I think it was both. I mean, I lost track of it myself as well, but I think what happened there was that the one that was put into the stock very much at the beginning of the game with the choice combo was the choice climax was completely forgotten about, and you kept track of the other two that had gone into stock, thinking that there was still that one in stock. That's why I think that's possibly why the Matsuri was kept in the back row. That gives access to 2 salvages potentially in the following turn, as well as the fact that he played things like the Botan, not the Botan, the Choco, and the other cards to get through the deck and try and make sure that he had access to them if he could try and get them.
Okay.
Unfortunately, whiffing and then revealing obviously the last one there was the.
I'm going to jump in here. We do need to
Marine
get rid
in the stock area.
Oh, am I not muted? I am not.
So speaking of that, we'll basically be wrapping up this current round, and then we'll be going into the last
muted.
round.
I was trying to say, but wait, they can't hear me.
Liam's insight is
I just said that just because I knew that he was basically wondering why can't people hear me?
So yes, we are going to wrap it up there. We're going to take a very, very quick break. Round 5 is already ready. We're just going to take a very quick moment just to shuffle things around and get the stream ready. So it'll be about 2 or 3 minutes. So don't go away, guys. We'll be back very shortly. Johnny.